Don't leave until the end, because in the end is when I'm going to take attendance. There's an alarm going off that's just telling me that class is starting right now. I have Photoshop open here. I have a tab for Google open here. All right, so what we're doing today is I'm going to demonstrate how to put together a quick montage, and you guys are going to give me the images that I'm going to use. I'm going to save those images into a folder called 6-period montage demo. And then you are going to comment with a question or a suggestion or some sort of comment that's relevant to what we did, not just something random, so that I know that you are actually here and you actually got the information that I was trying to get to you. So the only suggestion I got so far for a character was from Diego, and he said Shaggy, played by, what's that guy's name? Matthew Lillard? Let's see what you're talking about here. Yes, it's definitely Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I'm going to take Shaggy from Scooby-Doo and put it into Google, and I want to make sure that I'm getting large images. Now I'm going to go to Tools. I'm going to go to Size. I'm going to go to Large, because you only want to use large images when you're making a montage, because we want this to be as high resolution as possible, as clear as possible. Right click on this image, and I'm going to go to Open Image in New Tab. When I open the image in the new tab, I'm going to go to it, and I have a nice large image that I can drag over and drop into my 6-period montage folder. So give me any kind of idea for a background or whatever, and say it too, because I can't see the chat. Food. Yeah, Lucas, that makes sense, because Shaggy is all about eating a bunch of food. So what's Shaggy's favorite food? Do you guys know from Scooby-Doo? Scooby Snacks. So let's go ahead and Scooby Snacks. So I'm going to go to Tools, Size, Large. That's really important, and that's something that you guys need to do every time you search for something new, is go image size large. This is kind of interesting because I got these floating Scooby Snacks that I could probably cut out. So I'm going to right click on these. I'm going to go Open Image in New Tab, and then I'm going to take the image I opened in the new tab and drag it to my folder. A lot of people have been doing it wrong, where they're not actually going to the large image first. They're taking the small image from this window, and that is not good. All right, somebody give me like an idea for like backgrounds. Let's go like, it's got to be like bright colors, background, shapes. I don't know. I'm just typing words in Google and seeing where it takes me. Okay, so these kind of feel Scooby-Doo-ish to me. So I'm going to go to Tools, Size, Large. And obviously yours are going to be better than mine, because I'm doing this in literally 15, 20 minutes. You guys are going to be working on this for a little while. So this kind of like trippy fluid color wallpaper seems decent. I'm going to see if I can get, it's got watermarks on it, which is unfortunate, but you wouldn't want to use this for yours because it has watermarks. But for mine, I'm just like, whatever. We're just going to deal with the watermarks, and it'll say free pick all over it. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this over to here. So now I have another thing. Somebody give me an element. I feel like something like fire would be a little bit too intense for Shaggy. So maybe I'll do, I don't know, we got this kind of swirly thing, so I'll do smoke background. Now, if you're going to find something generic like smoke, you could go to Google and you could try to find a large image that doesn't have a watermark, okay, or doesn't say smoke on it. So let's see, I don't know, can I get this one? That's pretty cool. Open image in new tab. But you could also go to Pexels. Pexels is the place where you can go and find large images that they're giving away for free, that you don't need to worry about watermarks or don't need to worry that it's going to be too small. All right, so now I have several images, right? And we're ready to start. So here's where we get to the new part, because we've talked about this already. We talked about the fact that you need to go to find all these images. But now, like, okay, now that I have my images, what do I do with them? So we're going to take these images into Photoshop, but first I need to make a new document. So I'm going to go to either File, New, or click on this button right here. And then what we talked about briefly was the idea that you're going to make this either 10 by 8 inches or 8 by 10 inches. And the resolution is going to be 300. So I'm going to make mine 8 by 10 inches at 300 resolution, and I'm going to click Create. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open all of my images that I collected. So I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to go to my folder on my desktop that is 6-period montage demo. Now what I want to do is work from the back to the front. So what is going to go in the background of my image? I feel like it was going to be this. Okay, so I'm going to take this image, and to move it into my thing that I'm making, I'm going to use the Move tool. You guys have used the Move tool before. It's nothing new. I'm going to drag this and drop it over here, and now this happens. Well, it's not the right size. It's in there, but it's too small. So I'm going to go ahead and do Command T. On a PC, it would be Control T, but when you guys get back to doing this for real, it'd be Command T. When you do Command T, it allows you to resize things. So I could drag this out and center it wherever I want it to go and press return. Okay. Next up, I'm going to go to the next layer toward me. So you can see here, I've got a layer with my blurry or whatever that background is. It's like swirling colors. I'm now going to take this smoke image and I'm going to drag this on top of this one. And then I'm going to resize this one. Command T. Command T. Drag out like this. It fills up my whole background. And that is my background. Now, all I could see is the smoke on top of the swirly thing, but I want these two to blend together. So here's where the magic happens. We can take the opacity and turn it down and get them to blend a little bit more. That's boring. We're going to take the blend mode, this thing that says normal, we're going to change it to something that says something other than normal. So if I go to one of these, every one of these is going to do something different. Some of these is kind of cool. Okay, all right. I kind of like what that's doing. I'm making this more my own, right? Now it's not me just going on the internet and just grabbing something. I feel like this has like some mystery machine colors to it. So I'm going to choose exclusion as my blend mode. So now I've sort of made my own background. Again, yours is going to be more interesting than mine because you're going to have more images. I'm doing this really quick. So I'm going to drag this onto here just like I did before. I've got a layer with Scooby Snacks on it, but I don't want the background. What most people would do, and when I say most people, I mean people that haven't used Photoshop before, what most people would do is they would just start going, oh, I don't want the background. I just want the Scooby Snack. So I'm just going to go ahead and take an eraser, and I'm just going to start ripping the pixels out. Okay. And while that is getting the job done, this is wrong. Don't erase. The reason you don't want to erase is what I'm going to show you right here. What happens if you erase part of the Scooby Snack on accident and you make a mistake and it's like, oh, I went out of the lines and it looks like caca. Now I've kind of ruined it, right? I ripped those pixels. They're gone forever. I want to undo that. What I want you guys to do is not erase. I want you to use something called a layer mask. Okay, so this is the new thing. I drag the Scooby Snacks over on their own layer, and now I'm going to apply this thing called a layer mask. At the bottom of the layers palette, there's a little symbol that looks like the flag of Japan, the country Japan. It's right there. You click on it once, and it creates something called a layer mask. Now, what the layer mask does, if I scooch this back over here, is if I start to paint black on the mask, not on the picture, on this little square next to the picture of the Scooby Snacks, if I start to paint with black, it looks like I'm erasing. It looks like it's doing the same thing as the eraser. But what you're actually doing is you're actually covering up the pixels. Why would I want to do that? Why am I going to make the extra step to make a layer mask instead of just erasing the pixels and getting it right the first time? It's because you have the option to make mistakes and fix them. So if I'm going along and I accidentally take a piece of Scooby Snack out, I don't have to panic. Even if I did this 15 minutes ago and I'm like, I didn't realize I knocked out part of the Scooby Snack up there. Let me zoom in and show you what I mean. You're looking at this area right here. I'm going to take my brush and flip it to white. If I'm painting with white on a layer mask, it brings my image back. So when you're painting with black, a black brush on a layer mask, you're taking the pixels away. When you're painting with white brush, you're bringing the pixels back. I do not have the time to get this mask perfect, but I will tell you that part of what I'm going to be grading this on, part of what you need to make sure you get right, is that you're doing masks that are clean, you're careful, and they look perfect. Yes, I use the word perfect. Am I asking for people to be perfect? Yes, I am. When it comes to masking, I'm asking you to be perfect because you only need to do it once and you need to just do it right. Because doing it once and doing it kind of right just takes about as much time as just getting it right. Okay. Now, what I would have to do in here is make a really small brush, and I'd have to get in there and be really careful. Another thing that I want to show you guys really quick before I move on to the next thing is that if you want to change the edge of the brush or the texture of the brush, let's say you're cutting out an animal that has fluffy fur, like you're cutting out a wolf or something. You don't want to use a brush that has a hard edge. You want to use a brush that has a soft edge. So you could take the hardness of the edge of the brush and adjust it. Now watch what the edge looks like. It looks like an airbrush. You see I'm kind of fading out the background? Make that little noise where you hit the little raise your hand button. So it goes, diddy. No, you're not doing that. Okay, hit the little button. Oh, there's one. Hit the little button where you make the emoji that flies across my screen and makes me feel good about myself. Yeah, there they go. I see you. Thank you. Thanks for being there. It's in the background. I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm doing, and there's a bunch of little images flying by. I'm being saturated with emojis. It's like sending the love, right? Clapping hands. Oh, bravo, bravo. Okay, so I got that pretty good. Remember, I can make adjustments where I can pick. Okay, it's getting out of hand now. Stop. All right, so I've got my Scooby snacks cut out. They're on a layer. They're floating around here on the top. I've got a layer mask, so I've isolated that image. I can resize it with Command T. I still can change the blend mode if I want to. Like I could still play with this idea of like, well, let's try what does it look like this or like this. I'm going to blend this into the background a little bit differently. Well, those are kind of fun. Look at all those bright colors. I got some divide is kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and leave it right there. Now, if I bring in the star of my show, which is Shaggy himself, and I go like this and I say, okay, my composition, I want him to be sitting down here. Command T. I'm going to make him bigger. So he's like, okay, he's the focal point of the image. And he's like, hey guys, what's up? What do I need to do with this? I need to add a layer mask, right? So I come down to the Japan flag, I click on my brush, and I start going to work, right? Especially when I'm getting around the edges of Shaggy's hair, I'm probably going to want to use a softer brush. You can see there's a little bit of Scooby snacks going on up there in the corner. There's my montage. This would not be something that I would be like, oh, you're so amazing. I can't believe you did that. But this is something that is a pretty good start. And the last thing that I want to show you guys before you leave and before I put attendance in is this. You are not limited to keeping these images the way they are. If you want to get them to fit together better, you are probably going to need to adjust things like color and contrast and lighting in the image. All of those things you need are up here at the top under image adjustments. So if I go to image adjustments levels while I'm on the Shaggy layer, I can make him darker, or I can make him brighter, or I could do both. I could also adjust the color in the image. I can colorize an image if I want to. Like if I go into color balance here, for instance, I could take this image and go, okay, I'm going to adjust the color so it looks like he belongs in this scene a little bit more. And he doesn't look like I've taken him from somewhere else, right? I'm going to add some more blues and some cyans, and then I'm going to change the shadow colors a little bit, maybe. And I'm just doing this on the fly as like my first instinct there. And then we're going to get to this tomorrow because I feel like unless unexpectedly the world ends, we will be back in school tomorrow. It's supposed to be like a really cozy, like 5 degrees.
Thanks for watching. Like there's like a little button that they put on the laptop or something, and then they say click it, and then you can never even miss a video. Hmm.
That's if you subscribe.